Take a look at this woman by name of Menokka Nealy. Look at her Facebook page. What you're looking at is her coming out with a hot single called Good Day. This is July 2021. And as you look at other pictures, you see her showing herself, selfies, and you see a nice looking woman. Now I want you to take a look at this little 5-year-old girl by name of Inaja Nua Holland. She's 5 years old. This is her daughter. Now, what you see on social media, you'll think everything is happy, everything is joyful, everything is good. But the reality is not. You ask me why? Because this mother stabbed and murdered her own daughter. Menokka Carr Nealy, 30 years old, has been sentenced to 25 years in prison for stabbing her 5-year-old daughter to death last year. She pleaded guilty, and initially, her charges were aggravated murder, felonious assault, and child endangerment in the death of Naja Holland. Now, the judge, Nancy Margaret Russo, sentenced Nealy after she pleaded guilty to felonious assault, child endangerment, and a reduced charge of involuntary manslaughter just last week. Now, Russell Todd Nealy, her attorney, asked for a shorter sentence, arguing that the stabbing occurred because she suffered from mental illness. Now, before we continue with what's going on today, I want to go back to the past. As we go to the past, we're going to go back to 2022. The little 5-year-old girl had a father by the name of Gregory Holland, who's been fighting for primary custody, and has been going back and forth to court trying to get custody, and the system failed him. And the thing about this situation is, the day that Menokka Carr Nealy stabbed her, I want you to understand that his family was on the phone with the little girl right before it happened. Now, Joy Holland, who was Elijah's grandmother and also Gregory's mother, reportedly said there was a disturbing conversation with Nealy that prompted her to call the police. Joy reportedly said that Nealy taunted her about having just killed Elijah. I gotta say this one more time so you can get a clear understanding. Joy Holland, who is the mother of Gregory Holland, also the grandmother of Elijah, reportedly had a disturbing conversation with Nealy that prompted her to call the police. Joy reportedly said that Nealy taunted her about having just killed Elijah. Now, the grandmother said, I was just calling my grandbaby to tell her I bought her a gift that she asked me to buy her. As soon as I had called her, the mother said she's dead and God is coming to get you. This is what Joy told WKYC. As soon as the call ended, Joy Holland reportedly called the police and requested a welfare being checked at the Southgate Towers apartment complex located in Northfield Road, where Nija and her mother lived. And the officers with the Bedford Heights Police Department responded to the request shortly after the call. Upon arriving at the apartment, first responders reportedly entered the home and found the victim on the floor in a pool of blood inside one of the back bedrooms in the home. And it appeared that Nija sustained multiple stab wounds to her torso. Now, from the county medical examiner's office, responded to the home, taking custody of the body and pronouncing Nija dead on the scene. Nealy was still in the apartment, was immediately arrested. Now, when you talk to the sergeant, his name is Robert Major with the Bedford Heights Police, he reportedly told the WKYC following Nealy's arrest, our hearts goes out to the family, especially child's father. I couldn't imagine what he's going through right now. Can y'all imagine you being a grandmother or a parent and you call to talk to your child and you have the mother on the other end telling you that she's dead and God's gonna come get you? Now, Gregory Holland, the father, had repeatedly already filed court papers and was in the process of trying to gain full custody of Anijah. Now, the father, Gregory Holland, had already filed court papers and was in the process of trying to gain full custody of Anijah. But the proceedings had been repeatedly delayed due to the pandemic and recent weather events. And what you finna see right now as the father in the courtroom telling the judge to leave her in jail. She should never see the day of light.
So this will never happen ever again. The system failed me. I was fighting for my daughter. Let me down, and I don't want this to happen to nobody else. She should never see the day of light ever again. Ever. Somebody can do that to their own child. So much stuff I want to say to her. She don't need to walk, period.
And as you see in the video, he became more emotional as he went on. And I couldn't imagine going through this situation. But I want you to understand that many of our children are killed and destroyed by these baby mama terrorists. And also, I want you to understand that when you're an unwed father, the mother gets 100% custody. When you married, you get 50%. But even if you married, the system is gender biased when it comes to fathers getting custody or equal custody in this unjust system. And we already know why that is. So this father, Gregory Holland, was fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And now his daughter still gets killed. And the unfortunate thing about this situation, there'll be so many saying that it's somehow his fault and try to justify what this woman did. Now, the judge gave her a $2 million cash bond. From what I know, she never came out. She never got out. And now you have a family destroyed. Now, what the father has been doing since this unfortunate situation, he's been trying to spread awareness on how this system is biased and how this system assists to destroy our children. So I want people to know that Anijah Newell Holland was born March 24th, 2016, and she died February 12th of 2022. They had her funeral at Calhoun Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Bedford Heights, Ohio. Her services was Thursday, February 24th at 11 a.m. The visitation was held at 10:30 a.m. until the service time. She was a daddy's girl. She liked to have fun. She loved being around her father. They have videos doing jokes and stuff like that. And as you see, they had a very good bond. I want you to understand that a lot of our children are destroyed because the child loved the father, because the child don't fall for the manipulation that these baby mama terrorists do. Now this brings us to today. So now we're going back to what I said in the beginning. Menokka Carr Nealy pleaded guilty, and now she's sentenced to 25 years of prison for killing her 5-year-old daughter. Now, like I told you before, initially she was charged with aggravated murder, felonious assault, and child endangerment in the death of Anijah Holland. By her pleading guilty, she pleaded guilty to child endangerment and felonious assault and the reduced charges of involuntary manslaughter last week. Now, but I want y'all to understand that her lawyer asked for a shorter sentence. The lawyer's name is Russell Ty. He was arguing that the stabbing occurred because she suffered from mental illness. He also says that she loved her daughter. There's no dispute about that, he said. She was simply not herself. She was psychotic, drinking NyQuil. When she turned for help and didn't get it, tragedy hit. Now, Nealy, the mother, while crying, apologized to her family and to the Holland family. Gregory Holland was the child's mother and had been trying to gain custody of the child before her death. Now, what she said was, I was not in the right state of mind, she said. For years, I struggled with mental health. Elijah was my world, a life for a life. I hope today brings justice to the family. The reality is it does not bring justice to the family because, one, this mother will be able to get out in 25 years. Two, 25 years is nowhere enough. And three, she'll be able to live her life to the fullest when she get out. Now, the judge said she do not understand what led Nealy to kill her daughter, but urged the importance of asking for help when experiencing mental illness and taking care of a child. She said, there is nothing I can do. There's not a sentence I can give that can turn the clock back. We are here today because choices were made and now people in this room are suffering, Russo said. Now, Erica Williams, who is Elijah's paternal aunt, cried while facing Nealy in court. She says, a mother's supposed to love and protect their child, she said. I pray her soul haunts you forever. I consider you a monster. I pray that your days in jail be worse than what my niece went through. Now, what's sad and hurtful about this situation is the 5-year-old Elijah was FaceTiming her grandmother February 12, 2022, to ask whether she had received a Valentine's Day gift. When the call ended, the grandmother grew worried and called the police to request a welfare check at the apartment. Bedford Heights Chief Michael Murata said. And that's when they found a little girl with multiple stab wounds to her body about 6:30 p.m. And one thing that interests me, I went on Instagram where somebody posted about this story where she is sentenced to 25 years. You had a lot of women in the chat saying that she suffered from postpartum depression. You have to understand what she was going through, and maybe it's the father's fault, and that wasn't her. But I want y'all to understand about postpartum depression. I looked up from the National Institutes of Health. This came out November 10th, 2020. How long do postpartum depression last? And it does say it lasts for years. But I want y'all to understand that the most that it lasts is 3 years after giving birth. The little girl's 5. So I want you to understand that you have a lot of baby mama terrorists that use postpartum depression and mental illness as a get out of jail free card. In my opinion, the reason why she killed that little girl was 1, because the little girl loved her daddy. 2, the paternal family cared about that child just as much as he did. 3, she wanted the father to suffer and the family to suffer. And 4, because she knows she could. This story is an unfortunate situation, and this did not have to happen. See, a lot of people run around and say that fathers do not fight for their children, when in actuality, fathers have always fought for their children. But the problem is, this court system is designed to give the child to the mother because the government, a family court, reaps the benefits from it, as well as the mother. I want you to understand that this little girl will be living right now if the baby was with the father. And I also want you to understand that this was an act of evil. This was not postpartum depression, and this was not mental illness. So now this father, Gregory Holland, got to live with this for the rest of his life. His family got to live with this for the rest of their lives. This innocent little baby girl died too young. A lot of men who fight for custody end up going through the same situation, but people don't talk about it. I want you to understand that this system is only designed to make money, a $60 billion business. But I do want you men to understand that if you unwedded, you don't have no rights. You will have to get acknowledgement of paternity. And even then, that's when they try to set you up child support and every other weekend and being a non-custodial parent. So it's a step-by-step game. All right, here's my final words. I want everybody to say a prayer to the Holland family. I want everybody to look at this picture of Anijah Holland and think about how innocent this little child was, how she was taken away unjustly, not just because of the mother, but because of this unjust system. Many of our children end up just like Anijah, and it's not going to stop until the laws change. And just understand that this could be your granddaughter, this could be your daughter, this could be your niece, this could be your nephew, it could be anybody. So when you want the laws to change just to save the child, please like, please comment, please share, and tune in for another episode of the BMT Chronicles.